Imagine walking into the office when suddenly your boss calls you to discuss something. You walk into his office, and as the conversation slithers on like a snake, he smilingly touches your backside. You are angry, you are hurt, you are confused, but our outside world demands that you wear a mask of professionalism. These are the types of occurrences that are muffled in workplaces. It is done for a myriad of reasons. For instance, a survey showed that 39% felt they would not be believed, 37% thought it would harm their working relationships, and 25% thought it would harm their career progression. However, this could be you when you apply for your first job. It could be your parents when coming home from work each day. My name is Anya Kanpa. Today, I want to emphasize that sexual harassment in workplaces is not just an individual problem, but a systemic issue that undermines our society. We maintain that it perpetrates sexism, that it is detrimental to mental health, and that it negatively impacts finances. We must raise our voices by attending wary workplace youth rallies to amend workplace safety laws for stricter criminalization of this pervasive behavior, to foster safe, respectful work environments for everyone. Why is our government allowing people to brand women as emotional and irrational? Is it because sexism is ingrained in our society? Its widespread impact breeds misogynistic and misandrist attitudes because although women are more affected by sexual harassment, 20% of men in a study reported that they were affected too. There is no place for victim blaming in the 21st century. Sexism causes men to view women as use and throw objects, completely disregarding their human rights and autonomy. Imagine going to work knowing that the system was rigged from the top. There are many levels of sexism that ultimately leave a person feeling powerless, shameful, and incompetent in what they are tasked to do. This lowered self-esteem is what predators enjoy seeing, and it continues to be allowed. We need to take a stand. We need to say no more. We teenagers particularly must attend the wary workplace youth rallies because sexual harassment is not just some distant future outcome. It is the immediate future. In terms of society, sexism hinders individual and cultural development. It causes estrangement, rearing generations with loneliness, poor relationships, and social anxiety. Now, if this issue is so huge but can be acted upon at such a doable scale, then why should we stay silent? I know I wouldn't. Therefore, we must attend youth rallies, penalizing sexual harassment at work. Naturally, workplace sexual harassment harms mental health, but today, I'll prove just how detrimental it is, and how having candid conversations about these issues is a good coping strategy that increases resilience. Sexual harassment has lingering, traumatic effects on a victim's life. If we don't confront these felonies head on, it could ruin the entirety of our career. Such misadventures cause concerns like anxiety, rumination, fatigue, poor concentration, suicidal tendencies, substance abuse, and depression. Yet simply talking about it releases pent-up feelings, and it will provide solutions. Otherwise, you'll have an all too familiar emotional outburst in the most awkward situations. By criminalizing sexual harassment, we can help workers establish personal boundaries and empower others to also take a stand. The Australian Human Rights Connection conducted a survey where 33% of workers had experienced sexual harassment in the past 5 years, wherein it became a permanent source of trauma. Mental health is a universal affair, no matter what religious, cultural, or ethnic background you come from. We are all agreeing upon our humanitarian values. I want you to turn this upon your supervisors. Remind them of their responsibilities and the consequences for overlooking or engaging in worker sexual harassment. Let me point out that amendment resulting in sterner laws also entails stricter reinforcement of current legislative sections. So why not instead advocate for more fair workplaces? Sexual harassment culprits glaringly problematic mindsets, which involve distorted views on authority and how to gain it. Rather than naming and shaming, a severely inconclusive approach that will only solve a few odd cases, we can obliterate workplace sexual harassment entirely by implementing specific legal amendments to increase the effectiveness of criminalization processes. Did you know that sexual harassment in workplaces fuels a pitiless cycle of toxic workplace culture? It inflicts repeated losses on businesses by damaging their external reputation. Companies are faced with significant litigative costs, increased clinical workload, and distraction. Ironically, despite being mandatory and time-consuming, these safety meetings are taken lightly and are not paid properly, even though workers have invented hours of work. Under the new legislation, bystander intervention and safety meetings must be organised by employers and made mandatory by employees. Further, due to decreased morale and employee turnover, companies are forced to extricate mammoth sums for marketing. Would you want to work for not only a gloomy company, but one that might go under anytime soon? Think about the ramifications for your personal finances. Women who were sexually harassed were 6.5 times more likely to switch jobs than those who were not. Ladies, you are taking pay cuts and sacrificing your careers to escape this. But why is it happening in the first place? Young people are less likely to be taken seriously at a small company or a majority male workplace, which when we think about it forms most common work scenarios. What's worse is that some employers repress these cases. They say they aren't aware of the rules, but ignorance is never an excuse. The first step to eradicating this is attending youth rallies to promote awareness and societal change. In conclusion, it is imperative we act against sexual harassment in the workplace by attending the youth rallies that push towards its criminalization. I've said it all. It perpetrates sexism, is detrimental for mental health, and negatively impacts finances. The good news? It can be easily solved by rallying against inadequate laws that are harming our citizens. Now I leave this on you. Will you be the reason a boss degrades his secretary? Or will you be the reason to inspire a mother to provide for her children without being violated at work? Thank you.